We are the women of Serve to Perform.
We, as women, are very powerful when we are together.
We are the women of Serve to Perform.
As women, we can do anything. It is the same thing that I teach my daughter.
We are the women of Serve to Perform.
I think women's empowerment is the freedom to just be yourself.
We are the women of Serve to Perform.
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 Welcome back to the Serve to Perform podcast. I am your host, Delaney Osborne, and today we're joined with Miss Stephanie Collins. Stephanie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Stephanie, we haven't gotten to have you on our podcast yet, so will you just give us kind of a basic overview of who you are and how you got hooked up with Serve to Perform?
Of course. So I'm Stephanie Collins. I am a project coordinator at Serve to Perform, so I'm kind of backstage, as they would say, in my theater professional realm, which I do most of the time is I work at a professional theater company here in Arkansas. And I help with the getting events ready and stuff like that, kind of how I'm sure any of you have joined our virtual events. You'll see things changing on screen, or you'll see somebody's video pinned in the Zoom, and that's me and a couple other people in the team that do that and make sure those events are running smoothly. So there's a lot of prep that goes into those, and yeah, it's very fun. My dad is actually David Collins, so there's nothing funny there with the names. He is my dad, so he actually connected me with Serve to Perform, and they needed more production people, and I was happy to hop on, in the middle of the pandemic where we were all kind of needing a little extra work at that point. So I've just stuck with it because it's just such a great team.
Yeah. Awesome. Steph, we are so thankful to have you, first off. Stephanie does so much for our events, for our virtual events that have been absolutely crazy to try to maneuver through. Stephanie has created a brand new perspective that has really helped our team realize, oh, this is how we can do this, and this is how we can do this, and if we do this, this is interactive. And so Stephanie has been a big help in that department specifically. And so we wanted to obviously talk to her today about women's empowerment, because this month is the Women's Empowerment Month. And so we wanted to get a little take from Stephanie as well. So Stephanie, tell us what women's empowerment means to you.
I feel like I'm like in a pageant where I have like the microphone. I mean, it really depends on the situation. Luckily, with my profession, it is a very strong woman-led community in the arts, and that is so encouraging. And I love being around such a diverse group of women, and working with women who are just in different walks of life and at different points in their careers. And I always learn something from somebody who just started theater, their last year of college, to somebody who's in their, 40s and 50s and in their like 30th season with the theater. Like, I just can learn and take so much. And especially in the business world, which is so very new to me because I've never really worked in business. And especially within Serve to Perform, there's so many strong women that I can look up to. And it's the women at Serve to Perform are not afraid to take charge in a room if needed. They're not afraid to speak up and say what's on their mind. And I admire that. And to me, that's extremely empowering, because I've heard so many horror stories in business of like, the woman sitting there taking notes and not actually being involved in the room full of men. And in both of my jobs, and you can do that and you don't feel judged. You feel encouraged to do that. And that's so exciting.
Yeah. And isn't that wild that maybe 10 or 12 or 15 years ago, that might not have been the same case? Even just, years recent that might not have been the same case. And so to be able to say and sit here and talk to our team members and say, we feel uplifted. We feel like we are empowered. We're told to use our voice. We're told to be confident in what we know and teach other people what we know, because that is what makes a team and a diverse team so awesome in the first place. And I know that from personal experience too. I've been in plenty of situations where I have not felt empowered, but with this team specifically, they've literally given me the reins to this podcast specifically and let me run with it and let me take it where I want to take it. And that is so awesome to be able to say, yes, they've literally empowered our voices specifically. Because I know with Stephanie, with you, they have specifically let you lead a lot of the project behind the scenes coordination. Tell us a little bit about that.
I mean, would you like me to kind of go through like the steps we take to get to
Yeah, go through the steps.
Sure. So normally we'll have someone reach out, usually one of our partners or one of the coaches, and they'll be like, we have this event that we want to do. Here's the plan. So they share that with me and Mallory, which if you guys haven't already heard from her, I know you'll hear from her soon. So me and her will get together and we'll start planning out who's going to speak. We'll plan out what kind of the time frame we want and so on. And then from there, we take all of those details and we put it into a run of show, which is just a page, maybe 4 pages of an hour by hour breakdown of who's speaking, what's happening. And we also put where the slides are. So maybe you can like change the slides when you need to pin someone's video, when we need to pull up a video, just this sheet of paper that everybody has, and it has all the information we need to run it. So if for some reason I can't be there, it's something that we know we can just hand off to even you, Delaney. I'm sure we can just hand it off to you and be like, hey, can you help? So that's kind of the whole point, is it needs to be so easy to read and easy to understand that we can hand it off to anybody and they can, take over if they need to.
Yeah. Which is, they say the women are always more focused on the details. So maybe that's why we're good at what we do. But specifically, I will say all of those little bitty details are so key to producing a successful event or producing even just an hour-long roundtable where people are sitting and having a conversation, because this virtual world is so weird and it's so unknown and it's so different. But having that plan and having people like you who are as thorough as you are to be able to plan every single thing helps the event run so smoothly. And so what I was getting to with that point is that it takes everyone, right? It takes your voice being empowered to say, Stephanie, I need you to help me with this. And you saying, all right, here I go. And you running with it. And that's what's so awesome, I think, about our team. That's what's so awesome about, I think I can speak for you when you said the theater really empowers you too, the women around you there. Tell us what those experiences have been like. Has there been any specific time that you remember being like, wow?
I mean, just what I do in general. So I do stage management, which if nobody knows what that is. That's the person that when you're watching a play and you see the lights changing on stage or you see the set move, that's the stage manager up there telling people backstage to do that.
Yeah.
So we literally run the whole show. Yeah. And the fact that I have worked with more women in that position of power, if I can say that, is so amazing. I think I've only ever worked with 2 male stage managers. Wow. And what's so funny is, going back to the organization part, not that they were disorganized or anything, but they were very much, I don't like doing paperwork. I don't like doing this. And then the women were like, let me sit down. I can bust out this paperwork in 30 minutes. Like, it's no big deal. But the fact that women, when we go into tech, which is when we start breaking down the show and start adding the lights and the costumes and stuff after our rehearsal period, the stage manager takes charge of the room that entire week. And like I said, it's usually women. And so we have to be loud. We have to be bossy. We have to be like, no, we need to get this done. A great example was I was stage managing a show recently, and there was a moment with our, literally one of our top people in that theater company was saying that we needed to re-record something or redo something. And I had to step in and be like, we don't have the time to do that. And it actually turned into a little bit of an intense moment because I had to step into a male lead and be like, no, we can't do that. We absolutely don't have the means to do that right now.
Yeah.
And eventually they got what they wanted because everybody took their side. But it was a moment of me feeling the empowerment to step forward and say something instead of just being like, fine, you guys just do what you want.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Because if in that moment, if you wouldn't have stood up and said, hey, like, we don't have the time, we need to focus on whatever else we're focusing on right now, then who knows how much time could have been wasted on something that could have been handled later. And that voice, using your voice in an industry that you said is very woman driven, but with male figures like that is probably, it's very interesting. It's probably, I don't know much about the theater. I have not been involved with the theater. And that's why I think it's so unique and so special that we have your perspective and your take on it. Because I know a lot of stuff and have been involved in a lot of stuff that you don't, and vice versa. And that's what's so awesome. For me and you as women to be able to sit here, have a conversation about theater and women's basketball, and for everything to make sense, right? For us to come together, bridge a gap, and empower each other to continue to use your voice and continue to do things that may not be the woman thing to do, for sure. So, Steph, do you have anything to add?
I don't know. I mean, like with that story, it was interesting to have that person that I did kind of have that confrontation with. They did come up and apologize later, and they were like, "You were right," and I was like, "I know."
I know I
didn't
was.
say that. Yeah, I did not actually say that. More professional than that, but yeah, I mean, it really is so interesting. I remember when I started getting into theater, because I've been into theater since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
But stage management started my last year of high school. I'm graduated from college a couple years at this point. But I remember so long thinking that I think every person in business needs to take a theater course, whether it's an acting course, whether it's just an intro to theater thing, because theater teaches you how to speak. It teaches you how to like make a presence. It teaches you how to speak truthfully, even if what you're saying may not be exactly what you feel, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's helped me learn how to write. It's helped me learn how to communicate better. It's helped me learn how to keep things organized, because I'm kind of like chaotic organized. But it's so funny because you can like look at my binder of like my script and everything, and somebody's like, oh, I know exactly what this is for. But then you look at like my bookshelves and they're a disaster, but I know what's there.
Yeah. And that's all that matters, is that you know what's there.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I definitely think that if anybody has a chance or has the opportunity, take a theater course, take an acting course. It can help you so much more than you think. And you'll learn so much about like just different, like the culture of theater and the culture of the arts and where a lot of it came from.
Yeah.
And also check out your local theaters. Don't just check out Broadway. Don't just check out stuff like that. Check out your local, regional, professional theaters, because those are just as amazing performances as Broadway. But it's also like there's so many amazing like women-led plays that I've done, and like women-written plays that have been so amazing. One of my favorite ones I just did was The Half-Life of Mary Curie.
Okay.
And it was written by a woman, and it's just a female cast. We had a female crew. We had a female director. Like, it was such a room full of, like, women. It was so amazing to see so many women in charge and in power. And and then on my days off, I would go work with SERVE2PERFORM, and it would just be another just room full of strong women and just so many wonderful opinions, so many wonderful thoughts, and how we all can just like play off of each other and collaborate with each other is such an amazing environment. And I feel so lucky to be involved.
Yeah. I was just thinking about this stuff. Do you have any advice for maybe any younger girls who are wanting to get into theater, but maybe are scared to use their voice or scared to, be the woman that they could be? Do you have any advice for maybe anybody that could be listening?
When I was in high school, I was very nervous to perform. I was really nervous to get up into the class and do everything. But one of the pieces of advice my teacher gave me was don't be afraid to fail, because failure is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's inevitable that you will fail at something, but don't let that get you down. Don't let that, deter you away. There's so many times in my professional life that I've stumbled and messed up, but I let myself feel how I feel, brush it off, and I move on from it. Because the likely thing is most people will forget before you forget.
Yeah.
More people, if you talk to them a week later and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that, they'll be like, what are you talking about? Oh yeah, like they won't remember it until you bring it up to them. So don't worry about failing. Just go out there, embrace it. Do what you feel comfortable. If you think, oh, acting is the only thing I can do in theater, there's so much more. Learn how to use a chop saw. Learn how to use a drill. Learn how to hang a light. Like, there's so many other parts of theater that's beyond acting, and I think that's where a lot of people fall, is because a lot of young women are like, oh, I'm not pretty enough, which is a lie. I'm not talented enough, which is a lie. Like, it's all those awful things that we tell ourselves, but you just have to get out there and do it, because you could be amazing at something and not realize it.
Awesome. Steph, you are amazing. Thank you for all that you do for us. Thank you for all of the words of wisdom. I feel like I've learned something. I'm sitting here like feeling empowered, like, let's go do this. Like, come on. So thank you for meeting with us today. Thank you for giving us some insight into your brain and to how you are the way that you are today.
Of course. Well, thank you for having me. This was fun.
Good. We'll have you back. Don't worry.
Oh, awesome. I'm excited.
Next time on the SERVE2PERFORM podcast.
Be there for them, empower them, be able to be there to support them, because we as women are very powerful when we are together, and we can achieve so much. We can serve so much. So step forward and just help where you can.